You've been told that quantum shifting takes intense focus, that you need elaborate rituals, endless visualizations, perfectly crafted affirmations, and constant effort to stay high vibe. But what if I told you the shift is stunningly simple? So simple, in fact, that most people sabotage it by trying too hard. Right now, you're already inside the quantum field, a field of infinite realities all running at once. The version of you with the dream life isn't somewhere far away. It's here. It's entangled with you right now. It's not waiting for you to chase it down. It's waiting for you to stop pushing it away. Here's the paradox. The more you try to force the shift, the more you anchor yourself in your current identity. Effort is a frequency, and that frequency says, "I'm not there yet." The field doesn't respond to your struggle. It responds to your coherence. Most people approach quantum shifting like a battle. They try to overpower their present reality with willpower. They repeat words they don't believe. They visualize outcomes they secretly doubt. They try to think positive while their body is still locked in fear, scarcity, and stressed out. And in the quantum world, forcing is friction. It's static. It scrambles your signal. Shifting isn't about reaching for a reality. It's about collapsing into the one where you already are who you want to be. You don't drag that version toward you. You tune into it. Think about it. You've shifted before. Every major change in your life, a move, a relationship, a sudden breakthrough, wasn't just an event. It was a jump in identity. The moment your inner frequency changed, your outer reality reconfigured. No amount of visualizing could have replaced that internal shift. So the real question isn't, does quantum shifting work? The real question is, why haven't you tuned into the version of you that's been broadcasting to you all along? Right now, the connection is active, not when you earn it, not when you believe enough. Now, the field doesn't need your grind. It needs your clarity, and clarity starts when you stop chasing and start becoming. The quantum field is not mysterious about what it responds to. It's precise, uncompromising. It reads one thing above. Awe, your state of coherence. Coherence is when your thoughts, emotions, and identity are all tuned to the same frequency. No contradictions, no static, no hidden. But what if it doesn't work? Buried in the background, most people send out a fractured signal. They think one thing, feel another, and live as if nothing will change. Their mind says, "I am abundant," but their body is vibrating in scarcity. Their words say, "I am confident," but their nervous system is locked in survival mode. To the quantum field, this is noise. And noise never collapses into a clean reality. Think of the field like a perfect mirror. It doesn't care about your hopes or your desperation. It doesn't reward effort. It reflects the signal you broadcast in this exact moment. If your frequency is inconsistent, the reflection will be inconsistent. And here's the twist almost nobody talks about. The version of you you're trying to shift into already exists in perfect coherence. That version doesn't doubt. It doesn't try. It doesn't wait. It simply is. Shifting isn't about adding more affirmations or meditations. It's about dissolving the interference between who you are now and the version that's already coherent. Ask yourself right now, if I were already living in my desired reality, how would my body feel in this exact second? Would my breath be shallow or deep? Would my muscles be tense or open? Would my mind be scanning for problems or resting in clarity? Coherence starts in the body before it locks into the mind, because your nervous system is the amplifier of your frequency. If it's still addicted to fear, scarcity, or control, the field will keep reflecting those patterns, no matter how much you think positive. This is why people chase for years and never shift. They're obsessed with doing more, while staying the same. They change their vision boards every season, but never change the baseline signal their body is broadcasting 24/7. The quantum field doesn't need more of your effort. It needs more of your truth. And truth feels calm, stable, certain without needing proof. When you understand this, the game changes. You stop forcing. You stop grasping. And you start transmitting the signal of the reality you've been seeking. All along. In the next part, I'll expose the most common interference patterns that keep people locked in their old identity so you can cut them before they bleed energy into the field. Interference. Pattern number 1, the identity loop. This is when you keep trying to shift while secretly clinging to who you are now. You want the upgrade, but you keep defending the old software. You replay your limitations like a favorite song. You tell the same stories about your past. And every time you do, you re-energize the version you're trying to leave behind. In quantum terms, you're observing the old self so much, you keep it alive. Interference. Pattern number 2, the effort spiral. You believe more action equals faster results. So you push harder, meditate longer, visualize more intensely. And with every extra ounce of effort, you're broadcasting, "I'm not there yet." Effort becomes a declaration of lack, and the field responds accordingly. Interference pattern. #3. The emotional mismatch. Your mind can say, "I trust," but your body still leaks panic. You can declare abundance while feeling the ache of scarcity in your chest. In the quantum field, emotion is a louder signal than thought. One drop of fear can distort a gallon of positive thinking. Interference pattern number 4, the future chase. You keep imagining your desired life as something ahead of you, instead of inside of you. You place it in the future, which means you've just told the field, it's not here yet. And in the quantum, not here is exactly what you'll keep experiencing. Interference pattern number 5, the external check. You peek at your reality to see if it's working. You look for signs. You measure progress. But the moment you check, you shift from embodiment to observation, from being to waiting. And waiting is the opposite frequency of having. These patterns are subtle, but deadly to your shift. They bleed energy out of your signal. They introduce static into your frequency. And they tell the field you are still the version of you. You claim to be leaving behind. So here's the truth. You don't fix interference by adding more effort. You remove it by collapsing the behaviors, thoughts, and emotions that belong to your old identity. You cut the cord. You stop feeding the old signal. You go radio silent on the version you no longer want to be until the only broadcast left is the one that matches your desired reality. In the next part, I'll show you how to anchor into your new frequency so deeply that the old one can't pull you back, even when your external world hasn't caught up yet. Most people treat quantum shifting like a performance. They act as if for a few minutes in the morning, and then collapse back into their old identity by lunchtime. That's not shifting, that's visiting. And visits don't rewire the field you have to move in. Anchoring is when you lock so deeply into the new frequency that it becomes your default, even before the evidence shows up. You're not pretending. You're not trying. You're living as if it's already irreversible. Here's the key. Anchoring starts in the micro, not the macro. It's not about huge, dramatic actions. It's about dozens of tiny, uncheckable choices that tell the field, this is who I am now. If the version of you you're shifting into is calm, how do they breathe? If they're abundant, how do they make decisions about money? If they're magnetic in relationships, how do they walk into a room? These details are not small. They are the frequency. And this is where most people fail. They wait for external confirmation before fully embodying. They keep one foot in the old reality just in case. But the field doesn't respond to your insurance policy. It responds to your commitment. Anchoring is like tuning an instrument. At first, it's deliberate. You keep adjusting, noticing when you slip out of alignment. But over time, the new note becomes automatic. The old frequency starts to feel foreign, even uncomfortable, because it no longer matches your internal state. Here's a truth that will challenge you. If you're still able to comfortably drop back into your old habits, you haven't anchored. When you've truly shifted, returning to your old self feels unnatural, like wearing clothes that don't fit. One of the fastest ways to anchor is through state rehearsal. Not visualization, not fantasy, embodied rehearsal. You literally move, breathe, and speak as the version you're becoming right now in your current reality. No waiting, no warming up. The field doesn't care if you're in a mansion or a small apartment, only that your frequency matches the mansion version of you. Anchoring also demands emotional consistency. You can't transmit the signal for 2 hours and then drown it in fear for the rest of the day. Your nervous system has to recognize the new frequency is safe. That's when it stops pulling you back to what's familiar. Once you're anchored, the quantum field starts reorganizing itself without resistance. People, opportunities, and situations begin shifting toward you, not because you forced them, but because you became the coherent signal they were already looking for. In the next part, we'll break down the biggest myth about quantum shifting, that you need to wait for alignment before taking action, and why delaying is actually one of the fastest ways to kill your shift. One of the most dangerous beliefs in quantum shifting is this: I have to wait until I'm fully aligned before I take action. It sounds wise, it sounds patient, but in the quantum field, waiting is a frequency. And that frequency says, I'm not there yet. Every time you delay, you strengthen the signal of separation. You're telling the field, I am still the version who doesn't have it, and the field listens without judgment. It mirrors exactly what you declare through your state, through your timing, through your hesitation. Here's the paradox most people never understand. Action doesn't just follow alignment. Action creates alignment. Think about the last time you procrastinated on something important. You waited until you felt ready, and yet the readiness never came until you started moving. The act itself generated the state you thought you had to wait for. Shifting works the same way. When you act as the version you want to become, you pull your nervous system into coherence with that version. Your body gets the message. This is real now, but there's a catch. This isn't about frantic, desperate action. It's about identity-driven action. The kind of move your desired self would make without hesitation. Confident, precise, unapologetic. If your desired self would invest, you invest. If they would speak up, you speak up. If they would decline opportunities that drain them, you decline without guilt. You stop negotiating with the habits of your old identity. This is how you collapse the gap. You don't just think differently, you live differently. Every aligned action is a broadcast to the field. I am already here. Here's the part most people miss. The quantum field doesn't measure time. It measures state. It doesn't care whether the evidence is in front of you yet, only whether your signal is clean and consistent right now. When you take immediate, identity-aligned action, you force your environment to recalibrate around you. Opportunities appear. Old connections dissolve. New resources surface. Not because you earned them, but because your signal no longer matches the old reality. So stop waiting for permission from the external world. Stop waiting for proof that the shift is working. The proof arrives after the embodiment, not before. In the next part, I'll expose the truth about resistance, why it spikes right before a major shift, and how to turn it into the strongest confirmation that you're on the right path. Most people think resistance means they're doing something wrong, that the discomfort, the doubts, the sudden obstacles are signs to slow down or stop. But in quantum shifting, resistance is often the proof you're doing everything right. Here's why. Your old identity is built like an ecosystem. Every thought pattern, every habit, every emotional loop is part of a self-sustaining system. When you begin to shift, you disrupt that ecosystem. And just like any system under threat, it fights back. That fight feels like fear. It feels like procrastination. It feels like sudden chaos in your environment. But in truth, it's simply your old frequency trying to survive. Think of it as the final security gate before entering your reality. The closer you get, the louder the alarms sound, not because you're wrong, but because you're about to leave the range of your old signal forever. Most people misinterpret this moment. They think, if it's this hard, it's not meant to be. So they retreat, and the gate closes. They reset back to their familiar reality, convincing themselves it was the safe choice. But here's the truth the field teaches you: if you're paying attention, the intensity of resistance is directly proportional to the magnitude of your shift. If you feel nothing, you're not disrupting much. If you feel everything, fear, doubt, friction, it's because you're destabilizing the entire structure of who you were. The trick is not to fight resistance. Fighting it just feeds it. The trick is to witness it, stay coherent, and keep transmitting your new signal without collapsing into the old one. Here's the reframe. Resistance is the echo of a frequency that's already dying. It's not a sign of failure, it's the death rattle of your old identity. And if you've ever been through deep personal change before, you've seen this play out. Right before the breakthrough, everything feels unstable. People challenge you. Opportunities seem to vanish. Old fears come roaring back. But then if you don't flinch, something clicks. The noise stops. The field reorganizes. And the new frequency becomes your baseline. This is the moment where most give up. But the few who keep going experience the collapse of the gap. They step into a reality that feels almost instant, but was actually building silently through every moment of their coherence. In the next part, I'll break down the art of quantum detachment, how to let go of your desired outcome so completely that it chases you instead of the other way around. Detachment is the principle that separates amateurs from masters in quantum shifting. Most people misunderstand it. They think it means stop caring or let go and give up. They imagine it as passive surrender, a spiritual shrug. But detachment is neither passive nor weak. It is absolute precision. Attachment is noise. It is the grip, the chase, the desperate longing that broadcasts, "I don't have it yet." It is the frequency that pushes your desired reality just out of reach. Wanting, needing, fearing, it all signals separation. The harder you chase, the farther it moves away. And the field responds exactly to the frequency you emit. Detachment is the opposite. It is the calm certainty of someone who knows the connection is active right now. You don't ask. You don't beg. You don't chase. You simply embody the version of you that already lives in the reality you desire. Think about times when something arrived effortlessly. You didn't search, you didn't push, you didn't manipulate. The right opportunity appeared. The perfect connection unfolded. A solution showed up when you weren't even focused on it. That is quantum detachment in action. You were aligned, coherent, present, and open, and the field responded without friction. Here's the paradox. Detachment creates magnetism. The less you chase, the more the universe delivers. The more you grip, the more you repel. This is why people repeat the same effortful rituals over and over and still fail. They are vibrating the signal of absence, not presence. To master detachment, start by being the version of yourself that has already achieved your goal. Stop looking for external validation. Stop scanning reality for proof. Every second spent measuring or doubting interrupts the signal you are broadcasting. Instead, move, breathe, and speak as that version of you. Let your actions, posture, and emotional state declare, I am already there. Another critical aspect of detachment is emotional consistency. Do not ride the roller coaster of hope and disappointment. The field does not care about your emotions in isolation. It responds to the stable, coherent signal that persists despite circumstances. If your frequency spikes with excitement when things look right and plummets when things look wrong, you create noise. True detachment is steady, unwavering, and uncheckable. Detachment also requires patience with invisible results. Do not confuse timing with absence. The shift is already occurring at a quantum level. Your job is not to hurry it, force it, or check on it constantly. Your job is to maintain coherence while the field organizes reality to match your frequency. Here's a deeper truth. The moment you stop chasing is the moment the shift accelerates. The moment you relax into certainty, your desired reality moves toward you as naturally as gravity pulls water downhill. Trying harder does not speed up the shift, it adds resistance. Letting go is not giving up. It is finally letting the field do what it already knows how to do. And this is where most people fail. They hold on just enough to contaminate the signal. Even a trace of anxiety, longing, or doubt leaks energy into the field and delays the outcome. Detachment is total, radical, uncompromising. It is not something you can half-heartedly practice. It is the state of someone who knows they are already entangled with the life they desire and who no longer needs proof. Once you understand detachment, everything changes. You stop forcing. You stop struggling. You start broadcasting a pure, coherent frequency that collapses probability into reality. You become irresistible, not by effort, not by striving, but by simply being. By allowing the reality you want to flow toward you, unimpeded by resistance, by worry, or by need. This is the art of quantum detachment. Not letting go of desire, but letting go of grip. Not giving up, but giving presence. Not waiting for evidence, but being evidence. In the next topic, we'll reveal how to sustain your new frequency once the shift occurs. How to remain anchored so deeply that the old identity cannot pull you back, no matter the circumstances. The shift doesn't end the moment the first signs appear. Most people think, I've arrived, and immediately slip back into old patterns. They mistake fleeting evidence for permanent change. Quantum shifting is not a single event, it is a sustained state. It's a continuous alignment between your identity, your frequency, and your reality. Sustaining the shift starts with awareness. You must recognize the subtle pull of your old self, the habits, beliefs, and fears that once defined you. These old signals never vanish entirely. They linger like shadows at the edge of your consciousness, waiting for a weak moment to pull you back. And if you surrender even slightly, the field mirrors them immediately. The next step is reinforcement. Anchor your new identity into every layer of your life. Think, act, and feel as the person you've shifted into. Your body posture, your speech patterns, your daily choices, they must all resonate with this frequency. The coherence between inner state and outward action is non-negotiable. Another key principle: vigilance without struggle. You don't fight your old self, you observe it, acknowledge it, and consciously choose the new state. Every time a familiar fear or limiting belief surfaces, you redirect your energy to the frequency of your desired self. This is not about suppression. It's about replacement. The new frequency gradually becomes dominant, and the old one fades naturally. Integration is crucial. Embed the shift into routines, relationships, and decisions. Each moment you act in alignment reinforces the signal to the quantum field. This is who I am now. Even mundane choices, how you respond to setbacks, how you spend your time, how you treat others, become confirmations of your new state. Remember, the field doesn't measure how fast you act or how dramatic your results are. It measures consistency, clarity, and coherence. Your environment will reflect your new identity, but only to the degree that your inner state remains unshakable. Here's the paradox that seals mastery. The more effortless the shift feels, the stronger it is. Those who remain relaxed, steady, and detached from outcome anchor more quickly than those who cling. Resistance diminishes not through force, but through unwavering presence. Finally, cultivate a sense of active awareness in every moment. Check your alignment regularly. Notice when fear, scarcity, or old identity patterns attempt to infiltrate. Each time you recenter, you strengthen the permanence of your shift. The reality you desired is not an external prize. It is the natural reflection of your coherent state. Once anchored, it is unstoppable. You no longer chase. You no longer negotiate. You are the signal, and reality is your echo. This is the final mastery of quantum shifting. To embody the life you desire so completely, so unshakably, that the old you feels foreign. To move through the world with the certainty that every moment, every action, every thought is aligned with the version of reality you already inhabit. To live not in pursuit, but in perfection. And now you know the code. The interference patterns. The anchoring practices. The paradoxes that make the field work for you, not against you. From this moment, your shift is no longer hypothetical. It is your identity, your coherence, your reality.